Hello, I'm the Earthly Cartographer, and this is the story of Watoga Emergency Services. Promised to be the city of the future, Watoga, West Virginia was designed to be automated in every way to improve the quality of life of its citizens. The core of that effort was an automated government with automated emergency services. This structure hosted the police, fire, and EMS services for the city of Watoga. Let's cover the basic layout and then get into the history of this place, and how well it covered the people of the city given that the entire chain of command, all the way to police chief, were robotic. Is it even a spoiler to say that it didn't go well? We'll start by looking at the layout of the building. The Emergency Services building lies between West AMS Street to the north and West Innovation Street to the south, and two unnamed side streets separating it from the Watoga Transit Hub to the west and the Watoga Municipal Center to the east. On the ground floor, the lobby is accessible from West AMS Street, with elevator access that runs to the second floor. The second floor has a front desk, waiting area, and examination rooms. The north end of this floor has access to the helipad overhanging AMS Street. On the east end of the second floor, there's a stairwell that runs to the third floor, which is unfortunately inaccessible, and the fourth floor. The fourth floor has access to the complaints and emergency reports terminal area, the robotic maintenance area, a ward, and a lab. From the fourth floor, there is access to the roof, although it appears that the elevator was out of order before the end. From the roof, it is clear that there was a sky bridge to the neighboring municipal center, although there is no way to access this from within the emergency services building. Before Scott Turner turned the robots of Watoga on their masters, people seeking medical, police, or fire assistance were required to log into the system, giving the reason for their visit. This might seem reasonable in terms of filing a police report after the fact, but these services were also intended for use regarding in-process crimes, fires, and even medical emergencies. This did not work well, as evidenced by multiple complaints. In the case of reporting active fires, the automated system would first question the size of the fire, refusing to dispatch firefighter protectrons to anything less than a major fire. Next, they questioned where the fire was taking place, refusing to respond to fires outside of Watoga itself. If firefighter protectrons were dispatched to a fire and they deemed it not large enough to warrant their presence, they would leave, meaning the fire would then have to be reported again once it grew to sufficient size. In at least one case, this resulted in a total loss. When it came to reporting medical issues, the system was surprisingly even worse. First, medical issues had to be reported by the person having them, no matter their condition. This might not seem too arduous for someone suffering with the flu or a cold, but gunshot victims, pedestrians struck by vehicles, and even people suffering from strokes were required to fill out their own paperwork before treatment could begin. This is assuming that the system was even functional. In at least one case, the system went down when a gunshot victim was attempting to report their wound. The system directed them to technical support, where a robot told them to file a report on the reporting system being down. These were situations in which inefficiency was the main issue with the automated system, but even when the Watogans received the services they were due, the robots dispatched to help them were prone to misinterpreting human requests. As in the case of a robot that shot the little girl's cat when she told that protectron that her cat wasn't supposed to be up a tree. There's even the case of a police protectron shooting a suspected burglar to death well after the commission of the crime, rather than bringing that suspect in. That person didn't even commit the crime. These failures of the automated emergency services bring us back to the point I made in my video on Eastern Regional Penitentiary. Automated systems work far more efficiently than we can, given a limited scope of work, when they're designed for the scope of the work they are intended to fill. Humans are versatile. In the real world, when someone arrives at a hospital, clearly in need of immediate assistance, they receive it, with paperwork coming after they're out of the woods. The only way incoming medical emergencies would receive immediate treatment at Watoga Emergency Services is if they lost consciousness, which in certain cases would greatly increase the chances of death. When people sought out assistance from the system and found no help, they turned to the only human on staff, the maintenance engineer, Oscar. He was in no way qualified to treat anyone and was only there to keep the equipment running. Oscar would end up suffering thanks to the automated systems more than most. On October 22, 2077, when Scott Turner turned the robots on their masters, the patients of emergency services were killed without warning. After the war, emergency services was visited by representatives of four factions: the Remnant Chinese, the Scorched, the Free States, and the Brotherhood of Steel. We can fairly safely limit the earliest arrival of the Liberator robots to the Enclave elimination of the last residents of the Fujinia intelligence base, and the Enclave's reactivation of these systems producing the small green robots. The Chinese had viewed Watoga as an important target for espionage, and these robots are found in a medical center, a likely target when waging total war and attempting to strike at vulnerable points at a time of maximum vulnerability. The Scorched could of course only arrive once the first Scorched beast was released, though how they managed to get so deeply into a city with all the murder bots trying to kill all unauthorized people is beyond me. As the fight against the Scorched Beast began to fail, a Brotherhood Knight and Scribe appeared to have fought their way into the building, sustaining mortal wounds in the process. They got into the fourth floor lab where they locked the doors and sealed the windows. The Knight, whose armor kept him going longer, laid his slain companion on the lab table before slumping down and succumbing to his own wounds. Lastly, the body of Free State scavenger Vivi Steinbeck can be found in the lobby of the structure, dispatched by Abigail Singh to hunt for medical and electronic supplies. Even with all that we've seen here showing how the automated emergency services failed, the greatest exemplification of the failures of the automated systems in the city can be found on the lower roof on the eastern side of the building. It's here that you find Oscar, the maintenance engineer's skeleton, at the base of a fallen ladder. Oscar was sent out on that roof to respond to a maintenance request to repair a backup generator as the Protectrons couldn't reach the ledge. While scaling the ladder, he fell to his death. The worst part isn't that he was carrying out a job that an automated system should have been capable of handling, rather it's that his corpse lay rotting on that roof for over 9 months before the bombs. The automated systems didn't notice his absence, and as the only human on the job in the building, there was no one else to report it either. On that sad note, that should do it for Watoga Emergency Services. We'll head across the street to the Municipal Center next. This has been the Irresolute Cartographer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.